Somewhere in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, there is a story that refuses to die. Not because people believe it completely, but because no one has been able to bury it for good. The year 1735, and you just found out you're pregnant for the 13th time. In an unfortunate burst of anger, you cry out, "Let it be the devil!" 9 months later, you could say your wish came true. The 13th child is born, but instead of the cries of a newborn, you hear the screech of something that should not be alive. It unfolds its wings, climbs from the room, and flies out into the dark, never to be seen again. Or so we think. Because for almost 300 years, the people of New Jersey have claimed that something is still out there. Something with hooves, with wings. Something that screams in the woods and disappears before anyone can prove what they saw. The weirdest part? It's not the people believe in the Jersey Devil. The weirdest part is how many times a story should have died, but it didn't. Picture, if you will, a cold January night in 1909. A quiet street in New Jersey. Snow on the ground, houses dark, families asleep. The kind of night where the world feels still enough that even the smallest sound becomes suspicious. Then, somewhere outside, something moves. Not a person, not a dog, not anything that belongs on the road. By morning, people find tracks in the snow, hoof prints. Strange marks crossing yards, rooftops, fences, and fields. As if something had walked through town without caring where the ground ended. At first, one report comes in. Then another, and a third. Councilman hears wings outside his window. Townspeople claim they saw something flying over their homes. Police are called. Hunters grab their guns. Schools are closed and workers stay home. And for 1 week, the state of New Jersey is forced to ask a question that sounds ridiculous in daylight, but much less ridiculous after dark. What if the Jersey Devil is real? This is not just a story about a monster. It's a story about what happens when a rumor grows legs, wings, hooves, and screams. This is the story of the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil survived colonial religious drama, family rumors, newspaper hysteria, sideshow scams, fake monster sightings, hockey branding, and probably 10,000 drunk guys in the woods saying, "Yo, did you hear that?" So today I just want to go over the history of the Jersey Devil. I took a quick vacation over on the beach in New Jersey. And I thought, you know what? I think this is a story well enough to tell. And if this video does well enough, I will go back to New Jersey, into the Pine Barrens, one of the creepiest places in the whole world, and I will find the Jersey Devil, or what remains of it, for the viewer. So let me know down in the comments below if you want to see that. So we're going to talk about where the legend came from, why people believed it, how Benjamin Franklin somehow got involved, and how 1 week in 1909 made New Jersey completely lose its mind. So, what is the Jersey Devil? Let's get with that. Jersey Devil is usually described as a winged creature living in the Pine Barrens of South Jersey. I'm sure a lot of South New Jerseyans could be mistaken for the Jersey Devil of just a hairy guy walking in the woods. But the Pinelands Preservation Alliance describes the Jersey Devil as a creature with a kangaroo-like body, horse-like face, dog-like head, bat wings, horns, and a tail. It also says the Jersey Devil was designated in 1938 as the country's only state demon, which is a title so specific that it sounds fake until you remember that it's New Jersey. Now, I'm sure that if the Pinelands Preservation Alliance came today, we could probably name a couple more countries-only state demons. I'm sure New York has a couple that you may have in mind, but really, who's counting? Really, the Jersey Devil, sometimes it varies from person to person. Sometimes it has hooves, sometimes it has wings, sometimes it's like a horse, sometimes it's like a little gremlin, sometimes it has claws, sometimes it walks on two legs, and sometimes it flies. Most of the time it just screams at people and just runs away, which is probably the most New Jerseyan thing that a monster could do. But the Jersey Devil usually doesn't have some sort of like grandiose plan like the Mothman. It kind of just shows up and scares people, maybe eats a chicken, I don't know. And then just like scurries off into the night. It doesn't really do anything super nefarious, as you can say. It's kind of just a little creepy. But before it was known as the Jersey Devil, what we know it as today, it had a different name. The Leeds Devil. And that name matters. Because once you start looking into the Leeds family, it stops just being like a monster story, and it becomes a story about religion, politics, reputation, gossip, and one of my favorite founding fathers deciding to be the biggest professional hater of all time, which, he was only strung up in so much controversy. Why don't we just add some more? But let's talk about the Leeds family, if we will. Story's simple. The mother of the Leeds family had an unexpected 13th child, curses it, and obviously gives birth to the Leeds Devil. I mean, we've all been there, right? The amount of times I could say, curse you, baby, coming out of me. And then, just the night after Chipotle. But awesome joke to JT, good job. The annoying thing about this tale is that the simple version of it sounds like the fake version. Leeds Devil, whatever. The Leeds family was real. They're real people that lived in New Jersey. The Leeds family was real. They're real people. You can look them up. I mean, they had companies, everything, a huge lineage. Leeds Point, where they lived, is a real place. You can visit it. You can still go there, and I would totally love to go there. But the name Leeds Devil existed before the name Jersey Devil. And so the question really is, who the hell hated this family so much that their name became attached to a literal demon horse creature that lives in the Pine Barrens of South Jersey? Is this really about a monster? Well, to understand that, let's actually take a look at the Leeds family and see if there's anything there. Let's start with Daniel Leeds. Daniel Leeds was a Quaker, a landowner, and an almanac publisher, which already sounds like the most colonial way possible to be annoying, really. But it gets worse, because Daniel Leeds was not just publishing farming dates and weather predictions. His almanacs included astrology, occult symbols, religious ideas, and mystical stuff that made the Quakers around him extremely uncomfortable. The local Quaker community kind of saw this as like pagan, blasphemous behavior that's like Satan adjacent. But according to the New Jersey Council for the Humanities, Daniel Leeds became controversial because his almanacs used astrological elements that Quakers considered heretical. It also says that the real origins of the Jersey Devil may come from politics and religious disputes and Benjamin Franklin's marketing tactics. I know, the big BF. So before we talk about the Jersey Devil, we got to talk about the family that's already connected to this idea, because folklore usually doesn't appear out of nowhere. I'm going to get to how they're tied. The Leeds are actually tied to the folklore, but Leeds family's basically cooked at this point. Benjamin Franklin's rolling up in your block. You're cooked. He's going to come up with some bullshit anyways. Daniel Leeds dies at some point, but the almanac business continues through his son, Titan Leeds. And yes, that's a real name, Titan Leeds. Awesome name, because if you told me the Jersey Devil's origin involved a guy named Titan, I would assume that you're lying just to make it sound cool, because why wouldn't you? I mean, you can really say whatever, but you don't even have to lie about the Jersey Devil. Like, there's so much bullshit in this story that's just like, what the... I was researching this, and it's like Napoleon's brother talks about having an instance with it in New Jersey. Benjamin Franklin supposedly came up with it. Like, everyone's just coming out of the fucking woodworks. Like, yeah, I'm the Jersey Devil. No, I'm the Jersey Devil. Like fucking Spartacus. Titan Leeds takes over the family almanac business, and by the 1730s, he has a problem. The problem is Benjamin Franklin. Because Benjamin Franklin, before he becomes the guy in the $100 bill, the kite and key electric guy helping with the Declaration of Independence, one of the fathers of our country laying strict pipe to the British. He's also, before all that, was publishing an almanac called Poor Richard's Almanac. And Poor Richard's Almanac is the competition of the Leeds Almanac. So Benjamin Franklin, being Benjamin Franklin, decides that the best way to beat his rival in the almanac business is not to better advertise his almanac, it's not to better print his almanac, it's not to get better weather predictions in the almanac. No, he decides to publicly predict Titan Leeds' death. In the 1733 edition of the Poor Richard's Almanac, Franklin predicts that Titan Leeds will die on October 17th, 1733 at 3:29 in the afternoon. The funniest part is it's presented like it's any other almanac business. Like, hey, on this day, plant your corn. On this day, Titan Leeds is fucking dying, dog. Hitting the hay. Kicking the can. Obviously, Titan Leeds doesn't like this at all, so Titan publicly calls Benjamin Franklin a fool and a liar, which is probably the worst thing that you can say in the 1700s about someone. minus a couple other things. Titans, this crash out totally justified. If someone published my exact death date in their almanac to just sell more calendars for farmers, I think it'd be justifiable for me to be upset, just a little. And if put down your comments what you would say to Benjamin Franklin. But Benjamin Franklin doesn't back down. Instead, he doubles down in probably the most Benjamin Franklin way that you could possible. When Titan Leeds survives a prediction that Benjamin Franklin put in his almanac, Benjamin Franklin then says, no, 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 Titan Leeds did die. The man writing back to me now is clearly his ghost. This is stated by the New Jersey Council for Humanities. So now Benjamin Franklin is telling people that his business rival is not just wrong, he's also dead and is haunting him. Which is fucking insane. This guy is on the $100 bill. He's signed the Declaration of Independence. He's there. Whatever. Let's recap. There's a Quaker family with a bad religious reputation, a father accused of publishing occult and blasphemous material in his almanac, a son that's named Titan, a family almanac that is in competition with Benjamin Franklin, and then Benjamin Franklin publicly dunking on Leeds, telling everyone that he's a ghost. Hey, Kiwi. And somehow, this is not the weirdest part of the story. Because the Leeds family also use a crest on their almanac that includes a wyvern, which is basically like a small-looking dragon, like a dog and a dragon like combined. Like the Jersey Devil, like what the Jersey Devil is. But let's just to be said, the New Jersey Council for Humanity says that the crest bears resemblance to the modern image of the Jersey Devil, which I don't know. You use all those occult symbols. Your family crest is this fucking devil-looking thing. And, maybe Benjamin Franklin was onto something. I don't know. So, let's really just talk about the origin of where the Leeds Devil came from. How do we get from this fucked up, weird, no disrespect to the Leeds family if they're watching this right now. But how do we get from this colonial drama of a woman birthing a devil in 1735 to what we have today? Well, let's start with the legend. The legend starts with how legends always start. It steals a little from, history. A little history here, a little religion there, a little of fear of childbirth in the woods there, Then lets the story, kind of rot for a while, and it becomes real, I heard that there was a story of, if you get water from under a bridge and are super quiet, it's like it can cure everything. And that was probably just like an old wives' tale of some mom wanting their kid to shut up, while collecting water under a bridge. I don't know. My mom always said to me that I would like pressing buttons, like random buttons, like in the car or like the garage door, and she would say, if you press that button, the whole entire world is going to blow up. And 3-year-old me is like, fuck, I can't press it because then the whole world, it's on me. I don't want the world to blow up. That's where chocolate milk is. So. So, the most famous version of the story says that Mother Leeds was pregnant with her 13th child, obviously the devil number, when her being tired, overwhelmed, and probably living in colonial New Jersey, which already sounds like the most punishment that you could probably have as a human being. She cursed her baby and said, let it be the devil, like I said at the beginning. Now, the New Jersey Historical Society says that most tellers trace the legend back to Deborah Smith, who married a Mr. Leeds and lived around Leeds Point in the Pine Barrens. In that version, during a painful labor, Mrs. Leeds invoked the devil, and the child grew into a full-grown devil before escaping the house. Some versions say that the baby was born normal at first, and then it changed and stuff, and ran into the Pine Barrens screaming. Some say that local clergy tried to exorcise the creature. Some say that the father was the devil itself. And some people say that he just goes back all the time to Leeds Point, just trying to check things out, which is pretty bold. Imagine being like a baby devil and being like, hey guys, just checking in all the time. That's kind of weird. But every version kind of just tells the same story. Something evil was born in the woods, and it lives there now, right? That's pretty simple. But by the time people start telling these stories about the mother of the Leeds family, the name Leeds already had baggage from, the dad, the father of the father at that point, doing all this weird almanac business. So the Jersey Devil story didn't really mess up the family. Kind of just, didn't help them in any way. Um, but so the Jersey Devil, he lives in the Pine Barrens, which to me is terrifying because the Pine Barrens is the largest surviving forested area on the mid-Atlantic seaboard. Meaning, that bitch got history. Those fucking woods. The Plymouth Rock probably got nothing on these woods. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit was going down. There's colonial stuff, probably pre-colonial stuff going on in these woods, and it's just sitting there. Like if the Jersey Devil lived behind a Wawa, that would probably still be scary, but for completely different reasons. It being in the woods and it being dark and mysterious, it's so old, just gives it like this empty feeling that it's like it could just be anywhere, and that really just doesn't sit well with me. Atlantic County describes the Pine Barrens as a remote area of about 1,700 square miles, which isn't that big with American national parks, but on the northeastern seaboard, a lot of it is just like there's not a lot of woods like that. Like, there are woods, don't get me wrong, and if we're talking about the Adirondack, but I don't really consider that. The Jersey Devil living in the Pine Barrens is something you like half believe when you're out late at night. Maybe you live in New Jersey or in Virginia or surrounding area, Maryland, I don't know, and you laugh about it once you're back inside. But once you're outside, it's scary because it's dark and the woods are fucking terrifying. And it's all just this funny story until 1909, where for 1 week the Jersey Devil stopped being a local legend and just made everyone in New Jersey lose their mind. January 1909 is when the Jersey Devil becomes more than just a campfire story. This is when the legend goes from something you hear about the woods, maybe around a campfire, to it being in newspapers, police reports, creating armed posses of hunters, closing schools, and entire towns acting like a winged demon is laying waste upon them. Panic starts with just footprints, and they're not really normal footprints, they're hoof prints. And the hoof prints are tracks in the snow, going up walls, through yards, over rooftops, and then they just disappear into nothing, which is terrifying. But it is 1909, so who really knows what the fuck was going on there? Because, it's not like a dog can do that, but, it's going up the wall. You know what I mean? It's going up the wall, man. I don't know. Like, there's a fucking monkey climbing around out there with hooves on? I don't know. But according to a famous account by Trenton, New Jersey, Councilman E.P. Whedon, Whedon woke up to the sound of flapping wings outside his bedroom window. He looked outside, found strange tracks in the snow, and from there, the reports kind of just spread. It's 1909. I mean, do you really expect anything more congruent and safe than that? I mean, that's the most we're ever gonna get. But once that story hits, it's everywhere. It's all over the papers. People are going fucking crazy. They just want the different towns are calling in, and no one saw the same thing, which maybe is creepy, maybe isn't. I don't know. You can tell me. Everyone's kind of reporting something different, which asks kind of a worse question. What are they seeing? What is outside in New Jersey? The Atlantic County says that during a famous week in January 1909, police and newspapers accounts took the story from folk belief to authentic folk legend. It also says 30 different sightings in 1 week created a near panic in the region. Which, this is just a public event at this point. Like, people are closing the school. The school's closed. That's when you know it's real. Whether or not the Jersey Devil was actually running amok in southern New Jersey, people were taking this pretty seriously. Which really isn't proof of there being a monster, but it is proof that the legend is doing exactly what legends do, and it's scaring the shit out of people and getting inside their head. Let's talk about the kangaroo problem now, because nothing sacred can exist without someone trying to sell tickets to it, and it's New Jersey. So, of course, someone's going to try and make money off of it. During the 1909 panic, there were claims that people had captured the Jersey Devil, because, of course, why not? Anytime people are terrified of something, there's always one guy being like, I caught it, but you gotta pay a nickel to see it. And one of the One of the most famous hoax stories involved a kangaroo with fake wings. Atlantic County says animal trainers at the Arch Street Museum created a devil from a kangaroo painted with green stripes, added false wings to it, which is incredible because if you have the time to glue fake bat wings onto a kangaroo to prove that the demon is real, I feel like, you know, the real demon might be inside someone's head with a bunch of paint on their hands. You know what I mean? But I respect the hustle. Really, I do. Just imagine, imagine being the guy that has a painted kangaroo and being like, that right there is a Jersey Devil, them cryptids. But that's really the most, like, crazy thing that I could find at a glance. But if we're talking about recent sightings, the thing with the Jersey Devil is that it's still a thing. People still talk about the Jersey Devil. Every few years, someone's just like, "Whoa, yeah, see the Jersey Devil in the news." In 2015, there was a supposed Jersey Devil photo that got attention online. A man claimed he saw something near a golf course that looked like a large animal, then spread out wings and flew away. The Guardian covered the sighting and noted that experts were skeptical of the image. I mean, it's 2015. Photoshop is like a thing at this point. I don't know. Do I believe every modern Jersey Devil photo? I mean, am I your mom on Facebook liking every puppy doing a backflip when it's obviously an AI video? No. You know, I can probably tell. But that's what makes it interesting, is that people are still holding on to this Jersey Devil thing like dear life. Like, this is all we got. The Jersey Shore is over. We don't have anything, New Jersey. Okay? The Devils stink. I mean, the Jets, I guess, are like Jersey's team, but they're the Jets, you know. We're never going to win. The Jets are never going to win. So the Jersey Devils, the only thing we got. They don't really have any cool history. New Jersey's all right. New Jersey Transit is like the worst thing in the world, but New Jersey's like okay. They got the Sopranos, but that's over too. You know what I mean? But if you are to ever encounter the Jersey Devil, what should you do? First of all, don't shoot at it. Apparently, people already tried that in 1909 and it didn't help. Second, don't follow it into the woods, because that's probably how you become the topic of some white girl's podcast. I'm just going to be so real. You're going to die, dog. And if it screams at you, just leave. I don't care if you're a skeptic. I don't care if you have a flashlight from Amazon and a GoPro strapped to your chest. If something with hooves and wings screams at you in the Pine Barrens, the investigation's over, man. Okay? Get out of there. Pine Barrens, fucking terrifying. All right? And fourth, if you see hoof prints on your roof, probably it's time to move. I'm gonna be so real. At that point, the house belongs to him. So, to wrap this up, is the Jersey Devil real? I don't know. No idea. Honestly, I think that question asking that question too early ruins the story. Because whether this started as a cursed child, hated family, religious feud, newspaper panic, or a kangaroo with arts and crafts rings, result is the same. New Jersey's got a monster. That makes two. Unlike most monsters, this one has a home address, the Pine Barrens. Jersey Devil is not just a creature people talk about. It's tied to a place, a real place, a place you can drive to. A place where people still tell the story, and a place where, if you're stupid enough, you can stand in the dark and listen. So, if you like this, and this gets enough attention, likes, views, comments, I don't know, or if you just really want me to, I will go back to New Jersey, to the Pine Barrens, and I will go to Leeds Point and try and track down this Jersey Devil. And if I don't, I'll at least go to Jersey Mike's. At least he will have his way with me. Because sometimes the scariest thing about a legend is not proving that it's real, it's realizing how badly people need it to be. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye!
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name. But I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called. You have all been called here